Actually, I noticed something about I have cluster headache, Hortons, right? I also, when I was diagnosed in the hospital, I was scanned, right? And I have like a 8 centimeter fracture in behind my head, in my head, right? And in the same time, I have a neck injury visible on aorix, right? So basically, whether the doctor explained that whether the Horton is on the level with the cranium fracture is possible, but I I don't know if the fracture is the reason for the Hortons or because then it would be another diagnosis. But it's if the doctors, when I made my headache diary, they actually recognize this as Hortons. The medication I get works pretty well, but you can't take too much of the medication because then it will not work so well. So basically, right now I have some. It's a little bit lighter attack, but it's still hard, and I think it's from. It could be from some stress. It could also be from yeah, stress is probably in the reason for it to get worse. And I also think that the temperature outside, if we have spring and fall, I often get, not every year, but some years I get like headaches. Another thing I read about Hortons is that many people disqualify the Hortons by dentist problem or even psychiatry problem, right? And I realized that, for example, today I moved a new place and I'm very happy to be here. And there was like they were gonna eat together, and I thought like this is just stupid to miss out on the first night meeting these people. It would be like rude to stay away because I have not a full blown Hortons, but I have a headache, right? It feels like somebody is knocking on my head. So I thought, like, okay, I'm gonna try. And it actually, I think when you meet somebody who has massive pain, they're in another, of course, another condition when they're like happy and outspoken, right? But people misunderstand it a little bit as something else, right? So it's very difficult when you. It's not every year I have attacks, but of course, the more stress that has been over the year, the more risky it gets, right? Um, when I have a headache, when I had was living with my boy, I had one period of headache, and he actually was very nice. My small boy, he said like I said, listen, I'm probably not talking so much because I have a headache, and I'm probably not so funny as I used to be, and I don't play as much in these days because I have this heavy headache. And he said, quote, "Oh, that's why you don't talk so much." That was he's we had a very fine relationship, me and my boy, and he didn't like, there was no kind of disrespect between us. So the way I worked around it is just, if you respect other people, whatever condition they're in, there will be no trouble. So I had no trouble. I could like, I'm not the type to lay down, mainly because it get even worse, right? So normally I just like slow down a little bit, and I do the things I need to do. Looking after my dogs, at that time my boy, and so on, and function, and then concentrate about doing the most important things, and not so much more, right? It worked actually, and I think I have a very high level of tolerance for pain. At least the doctors say so. And for example, when I had the boy, it was a 4 hour birth, very fast, and it was very painful. But it was also funny. I had moments in the birth where I thought like, this is really is. I thought like, if he's coming out now, he's gonna go like a rocket, right? So I think when I look at the Horton patients, I have had very heavy attacks, where I was, you almost become. They also call it suicide headache, and it's not a lie. You get that far out that you think that you can't stand it anymore, and that's what it's known for, to be unbearable. In the UN section of worst diseases in the world, this is in the list five. Number five, pain in the world. So you don't need to, you know, torture me or kick me around. I have the headache for myself, you could say. But that's the reason why people sometimes misunderstood, because they don't know I have a headache. Not because I've just moved here, so I can't. It's not maybe so funny saying the first time I meet people, "Oh, I'm not coming and I have a headache," or "Hello, nice to see you. I have a headache." I mean, it doesn't really work that way. So, but people probably notice something. It could even be in the sweat, you know. So yeah, it's not that easy. I think this period of headache is probably connected to stress and the crime I've been victim of and so on.